Welcome to Horsefly Chronicles Radio with Julia and Philip Siracusa. Sponsored by Carnation. Airing live on United Public Radio Network on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. This show's opening has been produced, edited, narrated by Gwen Luckett at gluckett.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Horsefly Chronicles Radio with myself, Julia Siracusa, and Phil Siracusa. We are broadcasting live from the United Public Radio Network on 105.3 FM and 107.7 FM from New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by Carnation, so we want to thank them for their sponsorship. We love them. You'll have to do a few things in order to participate in chat. Go to our YouTube page, UFO Paranormal Radio. Go to all of our Facebook stations, UFO Paranormal Network, UFO Undercover with Joe Montaldo, News on the Flip Side, Horsefly Chronicles Radio, SoundCloud, Podbean, Twitch, and all of those places where you can watch podcasts. So tonight, guys, this is going to be a bittersweet show. After 5 years of doing radio, Phil and I have decided to take a break. So this will be our last live show. And we're like I said, it's bittersweet, right, Phil?
It's been fun, interesting. It's been a learning curve, and we've had a lot of great guests on throughout the years and a lot of great listeners. So it's time for new beginnings, and we do appreciate it. But right now we need the break time. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been real. So we want to thank our listeners. Yes.
And I'm so, we've met so many amazing people, and we don't really get to get out as much as we want to. And so this was a way for us to meet everyone in the paranormal and also get to understand what other people are going through. So we've had a lot of fun. And we've learned a lot too. We've learned a lot.
Definitely.
So we do have D Sun in chat. Hi, Julia and Philip. Hello. Yeah, so we just wanted to say that really fast before we bring our guest on. And we're really excited to see what's next for us. So we're going. Do you want to say anything else before I bring up our guest?
We are ready to rock and roll. It is 8:05. Let's get that guest on.
Okay. Hello. How
Hi.
are you?
I am well.
Okay, guys. Well, welcome to the show. Fredrick Woodard. He is an author, and he holds a PhD in clinical psychology. He is a licensed clinical psychologist and certified hypnotherapist. He's a paranormal investigator. He has so much knowledge. So please let's welcome him to our show tonight. How are you? And thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So take us to the beginning. I really want to talk about, I guess, developing your supernatural awarenesses. Take us to the beginning of your story.
The beginning of my story would be when I began to realize I wanted to write about developing your supernatural awareness. And I realized there were two incidents that helped identify people that had genuine experiences. One was they have an inner experience and then it happens in the outer world. And two, it transforms them. It changes them.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Have you had any paranormal experiences as a young child?
Myself, not really. I just had a couple of incidences that later were validated, much later in my life were validated. I had this image of a guy with a white hood, but not KKK, more like a spiritual hood. And I saw that when I was laying down to go to sleep. And when I was managing a group home, one of my clients came up to me that was schizophrenic and said, "Sitting in your seat, a man with a hood, a white hood, but sitting in your seat."
Oh, wow. Isn't
And
that
I
amazing?
believe that was the White Brotherhood back in the day.
Wow. That's amazing that people with disabilities are able, I feel like, to see, things that maybe that we can't see.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't have, I wouldn't have seen that. Normally, I don't have those kind of abilities.
So you've been trained in a traditional sense, and now you're exploring this new area of the supernatural. What kind of like sparked this for you, and what made you want to write this book?
Well, it's not new for me. I was always interested in expanding awareness. That's what I look at it as. It's like expanding your awareness, seeing more, understanding more, connecting to more is always something that I want to always achieve and always be a part of with other people.
Bill, do you have any questions? I know that you're just listening, and what do you have to
I think
say?
it's interesting, especially his title, Certified Hypnotherapist.
Yeah.
So I want to get into that and how that plays a part with what you do.
Well, I'll tell you a story. When I went out to California, I learned hypnosis from a lay hypnotist. And what he did is he was having us do the hand clasp thing. So you're supposed to close your eyes, focus on what he's saying. And then when you open your eyes, your hands are still closed. Well, I opened my eyes and I opened my hands. And he shook his head and he said, I have 30 witnesses here. If you close your eyes and do what I say and you can open your hands, I'll give you $1 million. So I closed my eyes. I listened to what he said, and I realized I couldn't open my hands. I opened my eyes, and he looked at me, and he said, "Now you're in control."
Wow.
And it was more about me than it was about him. It's more about teaching people their powers more than it is about controlling somebody.
Very interesting. Have you ever? Go ahead, Phil.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay. Have you ever had an experience with maybe a darker energy?
Not personally, no.
Okay. Have you ever had a spirit on location or an investigation that's helped you, maybe figure out a mystery and give you answers that maybe you were looking for?
I've had clients tell me stories like that. I had
Okay.
one client who told me, a research participant, rather, not a client, research participant. She told me a story about how her father died and her sister were trying to find the insurance documents and they couldn't find them and they finally gave up. And she laid down to close her eyes to go to sleep. And her 2 adult sons lived with her. and she felt someone had come into her room, but she didn't know who, so she didn't know if she should make believe she's asleep or if she should shock, wake up, or whatever. And then she smelled the cigar smoke of a cigar her father used to smoke that's no longer sold. And she opened her eyes, and her father was standing there in her room. And he said to her, "The coin savers, look in the coin savers. The insurance document is in the coin savers." And that's what they did. And sure enough, they were there.
Wow. That's unbelievable. It's crazy how that works.
Well, what's your thoughts on that? How is that possible?
What do you mean?
What you just explained.
I don't know how that's possible. I just know that it happened and that they found the documents. They were really there, and that her father appeared to her and told her that. That's all I know. I don't know any more than that.
You know, it's interesting because I've heard these stories before and very similar to that. And I asked that question because is it in just a belief, or is it a part of our reality that the spiritual world can communicate and give us answers to certain things through a form of intent that we may have? Asking the question.
Yes, I think that's true. The idea is that the father said he didn't understand how things worked because he was very new to the other side. And he said, "I don't understand a lot of what's going on. All I know is I was allowed to come and talk to you."
Oh, wow.
I've heard that too. I've heard that multiple times throughout the years. Just the way you said it is what I heard.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I always heard it.
You know, it's kind of like, I guess there are rules on the other side, right? I mean, yeah, like there's certain things that you can come through.
Not like human rules, though.
No.
It's a different world. It's a different reality. The human rules don't happen. I notice that when my clients tell me things, they don't have to check in with all these people along the way to get there. They just go there.
Let's talk about dreams. What's your thoughts on dreams? Are we going somewhere else into an alternate dimension? Is it just part of the conscious or subconscious mind throughout the day? What's your thoughts?
I think all of them exist. There's many different aspects. Sometimes it's just an aspect of everyday life. I remember when I managed the group home, one day we were making cupcakes, and that night I dreamed of cupcakes. That had nothing to do with anything but that they were making cupcakes all day long for a party. I think there's other things that are harder to explain sometimes that happen to people.
Yeah.
And then sometimes there's psychological, where they're just the meaning of something. So, some meaning is coming through. Your fears or your dreams or your wishes.
I have a question for you. Do you remember your dreams?
Sometimes.
Have you ever used a cell phone in your dream?
No.
Do you know there was a study done on that exact question? And most people say, no, I don't remember using a cell phone, connecting, dialing with someone. It's so fascinating to me that, you know, especially like I have these wild dreams, but there's never a cell phone that I'm dialing, connect with somebody. I never, ever. And on top of that, there's people in dreams, especially mine, that I don't even know. I never met them before.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know that. You could have met them. You know, I noticed that, and it's in my book, the idea that one person in the dream could have been somebody else. My grandmother, when she was really young, I never saw what she looked like. And then I saw a picture of her. She was gorgeous. And I would have not known that was her because I only knew her when she was old.
Right. Yeah. And that's how
Hmm.
they come to you, however they feel beautiful in life. So, yeah, that
Right.
definitely
That
makes
could
sense.
be
Yeah.
one of the reasons you don't realize you know them. I'm
Yes.
not saying you know every one of them, but I'm
That's true.
just saying some of them it's possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we get that a lot too with a lot of our clients. That's how it works. They're going to come to you the way that they want to come to you, and sometimes we'll recognize them, and sometimes we won't.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how this all works. So I just want to say hello to everybody in chat. Stephen, Christopher, Michelle, Christopher. It can be difficult for some to communicate from the other side. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to put that statement up there. I did before, but that is true. It is true. And another thing is they're only going to talk about what they want to talk about. And you know, we'll have clients too that ask for certain questions and certain answers, and sometimes they don't want to talk about those things. It's just the way it is. It's very strange, but amazing at the same time.
Well, there comes the ghost and there comes the spiritual beings. There's so much that we don't know how it all ties in. We do know that everything is energy, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that as we evolve, we learn how to communicate with energy through electronic devices that are developed. But then again, it makes me wonder, did we have technology way back in the day where the pyramids were built and the Egyptians were so advanced? And then did it all go away? And somehow the reset button was hit? Makes me wonder a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then, Will just ends up with more questions, than answers, and that's really how it goes. So let's talk about your book. Let's talk about your book. Tell us a little bit about it and where we can
Well,
find it.
each chapter is from chapter 2 to chapter 9. Each chapter is is an idea that comes from all the cases in that chapter. And then based on that, at the end, I have exercises that help people wake up if they want to,
Oh, okay.
based on what was said by the people in those experiences.
Okay. Did you ever have a client that, I have to just say this, that was difficult to wake up? I think this is a question some people might want to know the answer to.
Difficult to wake up in what way?
While you're, hypnotizing them.
No, I haven't had that problem.
Okay. Okay.
You mean, Julie, you mean hypnotizing they don't wake up?
Well, trying to get them out of it. Yeah.
Interesting.
I've had people take a little time to do that, but they
Okay.
always come back.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, that's what I meant. Like having a hard time, like maybe it takes a little bit longer to come out of it.
But I don't, that isn't part of the book that I'm here to discuss, the developing your supernatural awareness. That's more about my other book, which was perceptual hypnosis.
Okay.
And that I did phenomenologically. I interviewed people phenomenologically, so that I got them down to the littlest details in the simplest language, and then I returned that to people. I don't know why our fields haven't done that to begin with.
Yeah. That's true. See, maybe
Very interesting.
Gen X or Alpha might dream with cell phones. Yeah.
The cell phone thing is a big thing. There's a study done. It's crazy. And I would see a cell phone, but you can't dial a cell phone. I don't know. It's just one of those things. And when we talk about,
Do you think the younger people, like in their teens and 20s, might dream of cell phones?
that was part of the study
Yeah.
that was done. And
No.
they would see a cell phone in the dream, but for the most part, they can't use the cell phone. They can't use it. It doesn't dial out. It doesn't connect. So there's something interesting to that. And that brings me to like the whole theory of the Mandela effect. And it's kind of like certain people remember things a certain way and other people argue and say, no, it was never like that. And I'm one of them. Look, I remember certain things and people say, no, it didn't exist like that. And some people with me say, no, it did exist. I think it's fascinating. And is it timelines? Is it multiple dimensions? Is it something we just don't understand? Because there's no solid answer. I've never been given a solid answer on something as simple as Fruit of the Loom with the logo on it, with the cornucopia on it. I'll ask you, I'm sure you remember Fruit of the Loom. Was there a cornucopia on the T-shirts, the tank tops?
Never paid attention to that.
Never paid attention.
Not important to me.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting statement because I mean, some people just have no idea, what we saw, and so.
But it doesn't mean it's not valuable. It's just that
No.
I didn't pay attention to it.
D-Son, I am Gen X. Yep, so are we. Absolutely.
Gen X, sometimes I think we see things a different way.
We do.
Than the millennials see it, or especially with communication devices. And I mean, I'm outdated. Some of the stuff I don't even know how to use, But I think it's interesting. And he says, look, I didn't even look at he's not even looking at, well, when you bought, I'm sure you bought clothes for yourself. You don't look at labels and logos. Like you just pick something out and blindfolded and buy it.
No.
No what?
No, I didn't do that.
So how do you buy clothes? You don't look at labels and say, I want to buy a Champs T-shirt, or what do you do?
I would look at the clothes as they fit me, rather than the clothes as a label.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a first for me.
It is.
Well, would you look at the price? I mean, if it fits you, it's $100 T-shirt versus a $20 T-shirt. Would you look and see why it's costing you $100?
I'm not looking to buy $100 T-shirt.
I'm sorry, you were breaking up. What'd you say?
I said I'm not looking to buy $100 T-shirt.
That's a good answer. So what do you think about, what is your opinion on UFOs?
I think that they're probably real, but it all depends on the situation. Each case is different.
That's true. I would agree with that. Each case is different. And I think a lot of the stories are very similar, kind of like near death experiences. It's like they all have different stories, but they're kind of similar, right?
Yeah, there was a guy out of Harvard, I think it was. He was an incredible guy. He did a lot of the UFO stuff really in detail. And he was even investigated and they approved his work. I forgot his name.
Yeah, it'll probably come to you. later after the show. That's how it always works, right?
Yeah.
Well, somebody came forward from Harvard recently and said that there's a possibility and a theory that they walk amongst us. And it kind of reminds me back in the day, I would say to somebody who didn't get, are you from outer space? Like, you're not getting what I'm saying? But it makes you wonder, right? Like, what are those possibilities? Are we being cloned? Maybe that's why half the world is filled with idiots. They don't get it. Maybe we're being cloned and duplicated. You know, I'll tell you something. We all have lookalikes. And you see these through timelines of pictures, especially on social media, and it makes you wonder. And then they go back to the 1700s, the 1800s. And it's fascinating how certain people resemble certain people and so identical.
Yeah, there was a famous actor. I can't remember his name either, but there was an actor. He was famous, and there was a picture of a like a revolutionary soldier that looked exactly like him. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I saw someone that looked like exactly like me on the street, I probably would run.
No, but that's true. I've seen those. I know exactly what he's saying because I've seen those pictures. And it's amazing. And then you said, was it reincarnation? Was it someone or something trying to duplicate something? It's fascinating. And now we're into a scary point of life, of human existence with AI and CGI. I mean, now it's very difficult to tell the truth about who's saying what on social media because they could actually take you and make you say something you never said. We've come to that point of life now. I don't like it, but hopefully there's some boundaries where, you know, legally it can be identified so no one gets in trouble in ways where they're thinking it's these people saying certain things. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but it is mind-blowing what's coming out now.
Yeah, it really
It's
is.
with the advancements of technology where it's bringing us. And then we go back to, where is this technology coming from? Is it coming from what some believe, reverse engineering, and we're getting there? Or is it we're just being more advanced? Or is it both?
I want to say it's both. Let's see. So true how can't see how faces resemble from the time to the other. Do you see that right there?
Yeah. Well, they're pretty much agreeing.
Yeah. And you're going to be
AI is crazy.
Yeah, he said it's going to be hard.
I'm watching videos of people, they're doing it to celebrities now. They're doing that where these celebrities are not saying certain things, but you cannot tell the lip movement. You can't tell the difference. And that's where we're going now, right? With technology. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit because now it's scary waters that we're entering now. And especially with the advancement of AI, you know, we don't even know what these so-called robots are going to be capable of replacing us if they outsmart us.
Yeah.
The Matrix.
The Matrix, yeah.
And we're so old school that it's scary. All that stuff scares me. I'm sorry. Too scary.
You know, but I'll tell you that the governments are way, way advanced than. So I believe what someone said years ago, they're like 10, 20 years more advanced. They'll let us know about certain things when they're ready to let us know, which means they already have the technology. They went back to the telephone, for example. There's pictures, they believe that they already had the technology before it was laid out to the public. Years later, and computers. So we're like the last people on the totem pole to get the information after it's dissected. And that's not a month or 2 months, that's years in the making. So some of the things we see out there, we may say UFO, it could actually be part of NASA, part of something that's being developed that we don't understand, but they know what it is. And they did a study, and what's interesting is this, is that they've been interviewing past presidents, and they're asking, what is out there? People want to know what's out there.
Yeah.
And part of it is they say, well, there is something out there, and we just don't know. So then it makes you wonder, is there another part of the government that is a secret that they don't even know about, that has this advanced technology above and beyond everything?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely fascinating.
It makes you think. It really does. I mean, it's again, we just have more questions than answers, and I think that's just the way it's always going to be.
But I tell you something, if I could time travel, if that ever comes a thing, time travel, I would love that.
Ew. Come back.
Would you go forward or behind? Would you go forward or behind?
Oh, good. Such a good question. For me, definitely behind. What about you?
Oh
Phil?
yeah, I'll hit that rewind on that time travel and go way back to the 70s, the 80s.
You were gonna say
That to me would be unique. If we could do, if there's something like that, I'm all in for that.
Oh boy, definitely.
So tell us more about yourself. What can you tell us that we don't know that people should know? What they're going to get out of your books and all that good stuff.
Well, I have 3 masters and a PhD. So I have 3 master's degrees, and I attended the classes for all of them. I didn't do it online or anything like that. I was really in the classes.
Wow.
So that's probably the only thing.
Okay.
So your book, where can people get, what's the takeaway from the book when they read it?
Well, there's 2 things. There's the people that have had experiences who can see that other people have had them. And then there's the people that haven't had any experiences and want to have them, that could prepare themselves through some of the details I have in the end of the chapters that could help them get prepared to have an experience.
I like that.
So that's the takeaway from it. Each chapter is identified by the themes in the chapter. Like one of the chapters is more about feeling than thinking or seeing. And it's a chapter that I have a few clients that gave their experiences. One woman had chills all the time, and another person sensed the feeling of a person.
Yeah. Okay, so sense the feeling of a person.
And then at the end of the chapter, it's like talking about how to feel through the day. Feel yourself through the day. Don't think or see, feel.
Okay. Interesting.
What does that mean? Feel yourself through the day.
Feel the emotions, feel the feelings, feel what comes to you.
Interesting.
Yeah. And learn how to handle those feelings, I guess, in a positive way. It's a different way of looking at it.
I had a friend of mine, she was real empathic, and she was walking into a room where there was a bunch of people that had a meeting. She goes, "Oh my God, I was happy. Now I'm upset." And they looked at her and they said, "There was just an argument in here."
Yeah. It's amazing how that works. I mean, you can walk in, and I think too, after COVID, and I've always said this, I'm going to say it again, there's so many people that are, having awakenings and becoming in tune with their gifts. And that's what happens. You can walk into a room and absorb everybody's energy, and it could be someone that is not is happy. Even if someone is happy, you're still absorbing all of that energy, and especially if you're new and you don't understand it, and it can definitely take a toll on you, whether the person that you're feeling is having a bad day or a good day. I always say that too to all of my clients. You know, if someone's having a good day, it doesn't have to always be bad energy. You're going to absorb all of that and take it with you.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true. That's a true study as well, because the billionaires talk about this all the time. It's a study where this doctor here that we have on tonight hit a point. They say that in order to achieve the goal, you have to believe you have the goal by feeling you have the goal. And that's kind of hard to do. It really is. I'm still trying to do that, but it's kind of like you already have it. You already have that fancy car. You already have that serious bank account. You already live in that McMansion. And they believe that through thought is, and again, I haven't figured this one out, but they're able to feel it and make it happen and manifest it. So it's kind of like it opens up these other doors through feeling and intent and vibration to make all these positive chain of reactions come through. And that's where Tony Robbins comes in, because he talks about something similar on how to achieve these goals. And it's not easy. I'm still, like I said, I'm still trying to do it, but there are people out there that are doing it. And that goes to like the same cases. If you put yourself in a poor mindset, in a negative mindset, then you become part of that development. But if you change your vibration and put yourself to an upper class of people with positive thinking and minds, you bring in that vibration and sense through feeling and manifestation. Go ahead, doctor.
Well, I was going to say that a lot of times it's more about doing something that has no personal gain.
Ah.
Yeah.
And that those things happen a lot easier than things that we want for ourselves.
That is true. That's a good point. But it is true, and so we had a guest on once. I forget her name, but she always said, think positive. Pretend you have this, pretend you have money. Go into each day manifesting things, and it's you have, and especially this day and age, I think it's a very good thing to put out there for people, because there's so much.
Yeah, it's funny. I watch her
bad
videos, and every time she says, I'm going to get this and this, the next week she has it. She has it. And I'm just blown away by her. Like, I don't know how she does it, but she says, look, you have to believe you have it. And that goes with anything, right? Your well-being, again, to a certain degree,
Well,
right? Like if you're really sick.
Again, it's like, I think it's more powerful when it has a sharing component for other people. Because I remember one time I was looking for a book in the bookstores, and I couldn't find the book. It was an old book. And one of my clients came in with the book and said that she was at a tag sale, and they had this one book, and it was very spiritual. And she said, I picked this up for you. It cost me $1, and you don't have to pay me the $1. And I gave her the $1 anyway. But it was it was knowledge that I used to help people.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you very much. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Me too.
Do you think through a power of thought and hypnosis that people can self-heal to a certain degree?
Hypnosis isn't the trick. The trick is just being aware. Hypnosis is just one way to get there. It's not about controlling somebody. like I said, it's about self-control. It's about learning to be more aware, more open, more accepting to things that are good for you.
Interesting. Okay.
Power of manifestation. I like it. And I do follow, Jewel, I do follow that girl. And she breaks records of things that she says she's going to get, and she gets it. And then you have other people, other billionaires I follow. And again, it's not just money driven, but it's amazing how their thought, these people came from nothing, and it's their thought, and they have such strong intention, and they believe, and they say, okay, we're going to take a picture. We're going to post it on our wall in our own bedroom, in our own home.
Mm-hmm.
Watch what happens. We're going to make it happen. Long and behold, after a time, they make it happen. To me, that is powerful. And if you can manifest not just material things, then what can you also do for self-improvement in medical conditions? Some people claim they can fight certain sicknesses through an intentional vibration of positive thought, believing it's gone, it never existed. So I like to listen to these people. You do learn. I don't think it's the easiest thing to do, the way to explaining it, but I think that it's mostly fascinating because there are people out there that, you look, a lot of the actors too, they come from nothing and they're like, no, we believe we're going to get it. One of the most intriguing stories was Shania Twain. I mean, God, if anyone beat the odds of life and the record of, she's been through so much pain and trauma, and she came from nothing. And one of her documentaries says, no, I believed through my thoughts, I'm going to be a top performer one day. But she started out in schools and churches singing. They couldn't even afford food. She was broke. The family was broke, and then she loses her parents. And now today she's worth $300-400 million.
Wow.
Because of a thought of intent. And they say you take the intention and you never give up on it. You never give up on it. You keep it blindsided, focused, and you make it happen. And I think those things go with a lot of parts of life. If someone wants to be a singer, a performer, an actor, or you want to help people, and you believe you can help them, you can use those abilities to help people.
Yeah, there's a lot in that. Yeah, she was amazing, and she raised like all of her siblings. There's this new thing going on too, though. It's called the Lucky Girl Syndrome. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but it's been like really blowing up TikTok, and it's kind of like what we're talking about now. You just, there's all the types of things that you can write on your wall, for instance, and a lot of people may not want to do that, but I started to do that. And it's the same thing what we're talking about. You're manifesting good things to happen, and you have to keep saying them every single day. And it's just amazing how it can work. It can work. And again, you have to have good intentions, like you said. You have to believe
Right. It can't be just for greed or money. It has to be towards, like he was explaining, the self-awareness, the positive thoughts, positive mind, positive outcome.
Absolutely.
It's work. It's a lot of mental, physical work, but people have proven that it can be done.
Yeah, you have to train your mind. That's what it is. Like, you have to really train your mind to think a different way. It can be done, but you're right. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Even when you go back to the illusion, the people like the magicians, David Blaine, I watch them, what they do, and I go, it's a form of magic, but it's also a form of, we're making you think something that doesn't exist. And like, for one example, he was thrown into a chipper, which would just grind you to death, a tree tripper, and he never was there, but it's the belief that he was when you're viewing it. there's so much power of thought. They even have it down now, where they can make you think something, and you can use these energies and these tools for your abilities in life also. And I think what they're trying to say is that even though you think it doesn't exist or can't exist, you can make it exist by manifesting it in such a way. It's like believing it's something that you think would never happen. Believe it, that it can happen. Some people would say that's faith.
Right.
Some people would say that's intentional belief. Whatever you label it as, these people are being taught and trained that there's more to what we know and our abilities to move forward to achieve our goals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that.
In one of my chapters, I talk about how this has nothing to do with what you were talking about, but I talk about how there's a guy that came to me and told me his story, and he went into crowds and took energy from people. And he said, they don't protect themselves. I have a right to take it.
Ooh, wow. That's a first.
The
Interesting.
energy vampires, we call them.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. Energy vampires.
Energy vampires. I've heard of that.
And there's more out there than you think. That's why it's so important to, especially people with gifts. And like, we all have gifts. It's just, some have deeper gifts than others, but you have to protect yourself before you go in anywhere these days, because they're out there and it's not fun.
Right.
You got to protect yourself. It's just like protecting yourself in other ways when you're going out with your children and into this crazy world. Protect your spirit, I want to say. It's crazy, but it sounds crazy, but these are just things that us spiritual people need to start doing, because those energy vampires out there are bad. They're bad.
I would like to know how they take the energy, how they envelop it from another person. I think that would be interesting to know how they actually doing this. So they say, well, if they're not guarded and they don't protect themselves, I'm taking their energy. Well, how do you actually do that? It's not physical, we know that. Is it intentional vibrations?
I don't know.
I
I
want to
wouldn't
say
do that.
I want to say that it's a gift that they have. Like, I don't want to use the word gift, but I feel like it's something that they can do, and it's wild. Again, we're learning, right? We're still sitting here learning, and it's it's just so
You'll learn as long as you allow yourself to.
exactly. Every day,
That's
like
the wonderful part. You can
true.
never learn enough.
This is true. So tell us something exciting about yourself that people want to hear.
My book is really what I was focusing on. It's like the ideas that people shared with me, and then I share with everyone else.
Okay. And where can we find your book?
You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it on any bookstore. You can just order it. But Amazon is one of the spots. You can get it. Barnes and Noble. Sixth Books in the UK is where it's published.
That's amazing. Congratulations. That's amazing. And I know that it's doing very well. So congratulations.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Great.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I said, each chapter is like got themes. Like one of the chapters, it's the first thought that comes to your mind. It's like not what you're thinking about. It's something that comes from somewhere else.
Absolutely. And it's very hard to, it's not easy writing a book. People think it's really easy, and it's not. It takes a long time, take years, in fact.
I
Oh,
did that. I did write this book for years,
yeah, I
like
know.
almost 20 years,
Oh, wow. Wow.
because I
Well, it's
interviewed the people first
yeah,
several times over and over until there was nothing left for them to tell me. And then I put it together, and then I put all that together, and then I came up with the book.
it's amazing.
What's the title of the book?
Developing Your Supernatural Awareness.
I like it. That's a really great title. Did you know now, did that title come to you, or did it come to you like after you were like almost finished with the book? Sometimes that happens.
Yes,
Or
it was after
okay.
developing your supernatural awareness. It came after I interviewed everybody,
Yeah.
because I interviewed over 100 people, and I used 51 stories in my book.
Wow. That's incredible. And that happens a lot. Sometimes when we go into writing a book, we have like this name or the title, and then we start writing the book and it changes, right?
Yeah.
And I hear that all the time because it
Yeah,
has,
and I never came up with the title. I just knew what I wanted to
yeah,
do, and I wanted to get it out there so people could either connect with something similar to what they had, or they could get an idea of how to go about it if they haven't been able to.
yeah, absolutely. Well, Phil, do you have any questions that
Well, is anybody in chat that has any questions for the doctor and his book? Feel free
yeah,
to ask in chat so we can go ahead and ask him. I think I'm all out of questions. I hit his exciting points, which is his book. He went through the takeaways, his thoughts, which I found interesting.
yeah. Well, we're coming towards the end of the show. Doctor,
So can people find you on social media, Doctor? Like, are you on any platforms?
Not really. I'm more of a do my work doctor, help people.
So
So
how do they
people,
find you?
yeah, how
can
do
everyone
people
find
find you?
They can find me either through my website, which is woodardhypnosisandpsychotherapy.org, or they can contact me through my email, drfwoodard@hushmail.com, or call me at 603-673-2582, which is my office phone.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. We really appreciate it. You're a great
I
guest.
thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you
And
so much.
get his
Thank
book.
you.
Get his book because it sounds amazing, and it's a lot of knowledge in there and a lot of work.
Yes, that's the hard part, the work.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Doctor. Me and my wife are going to finish up the show. You can hit the leave button if you want. I'm just going to say goodbye to my guest and all that stuff because this is the last show. So you could just hit that leave button on your phone or computer. And I just want to hit some different announcements right now. And the first announcement is I want to thank the guest, Incarnation, for sponsoring the show, the guests for listening, and the audience that we've had throughout the years. And it's been fascinating, interesting, and we've developed through all walks of life with unique possibilities. And Horsefly Chronicles Radio has become intriguing and a household name. The Horsefly Chronicles Radio, branded off of the infamous haunted house in Easton, Pennsylvania, which led to the belief and the investigations of paranormal teams around the world, which we've had 52 teams document what we don't know, the supernatural, the paranormal phenomenon, and the entities and things that we don't see every day that do exist within the physical and spiritual realms. From there, umbrellaed off of the books, the Horsefly Chronicles Psychic Network, and Horsefly Chronicles Radio. And Julie and I want to thank everybody that participated throughout the years with your ideas, your thoughts. Gwen Clapper, thank you so much for the videos, the the
No.
billboards and everything you've put together for the platforms. We really appreciate it. Joe Montaldo, thank you for having us on your network with Michelle DeRoche. Thank you as well, too. UPRN is a great network, and we are proud to be part of that family for many, many years. Julie and I came from just doing a basic radio show that was very small, and then we got branded and became something bigger. Now, at this point of our lives, have changed, where our lives have taken a different turn. And with that said, as if you're watching a television show, and sometimes it's good night and farewell to everybody because it becomes to an end, where everything closes one door for a time being, and the radio is over now. So again, I want to thank everybody because, again, the guest, the listeners, Carnation, the network that we've been on, the ideas, and all the people behind Horsefly Chronicles to make it what it was. Now, having said that, Horsefly Chronicles is still a brand. There's still books being developed and other things in the works. But for now, and in the foreseeable future, I myself am done with radio. And I've been on radio for myself over 11 years, and I've got to learn a lot as being a guest and also being the host. So having said that, I'm going to pass it on to my wife, Julia, before we give our final thoughts and goodbyes.
Okay. Phil, that was so nice. And I agree with you. We've had such a beautiful run. And and unfortunately, yeah, all good things have to come to an end at some point. I think that, we met so many amazing people, and we've learned so much. I know I've learned so much. So absolutely. Thank you so much to Joe Montaldo and Michelle. And you never know, one day we'll be back, but for now, the doors are closed. So
With that said, my
yes,
final closing thoughts to everyone. Paranormal phenomenon and the supernatural, there's so much we don't know, and we try to learn and understand. Julie and I and my family know through living in a haunted location that these things do exist. We are no experts. There are no experts. We're still trying to understand what we see and believe and hear. But these radio shows across the networks of all different stations help people, knowing that you're not alone, whether you have an alien encounter, a ghostly visitation, or a near-death experience. You're not alone in your thoughts and your belief. And in these stations, we find a safe haven for people to share their ideas and spread their stories. I like to see the foreseeable future within paranormal phenomenon and radio move forward into an advanced way to help humanity move forward into more understanding and belief. Not only that we are not alone within a universe that is unprecedented, but in the belief of a person that things can exist that never existed through the thoughts of manifestation. It is the power of belief and understanding us and each individual person. Having said that, I want to thank once again each and every individual who's been part of our family, Horsefly Chronicles Radio, Horsefly Chronicles Home, Horsefly Chronicles Book, and our network. So much, because if it wasn't for you, we would have never made it this far. So thank you.
100%. Christopher, thank you so much for that. Z-Sun, thank you so much. And we want to say a special thank you to Carnation for fully sponsoring this show for this long run. Thank you so much. And this is an amazing network, and that's all.
Good night, everyone. Signing off from the Horsefly Chronicles home. This is Philip Syracuse. Good night.
Good night.